Have you found your Dharma? What about your calling or your purpose? Well, those are big topics in today's conversation. We are meeting with Valentina, who is a spiritual life coach. Valentina shares with us all about her area of expertise, her inspiring career journey from not knowing what she wanted to do through financial services until she found her calling as a spiritual life coach. And she has some great advice for us too. We also talk about overcoming challenges and embracing failure, navigating entrepreneurship and career transitions, the power of personal growth and awakening, the importance of patience and perseverance, and of course, finding and embracing your calling. So if that sounds good to you, wonderful. Valentina and I will see you in the show. Enjoy. Valentina, hello and welcome to the show. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Me too. So before we get started, how about you give us a short intro, tell us who you are, what you do, and how long you've been doing it for.
Sure. So my name is Valentina, and I live in Italy currently, and I am a spiritual life coach, if we want to give a name to what I do. But basically what I do is helping people to understand who they really are and what direction they want to take in their life. And there is a spiritual perspective. Basically, I help them find their Dharma. I don't know if you are familiar with this term, but Dharma is a Sanskrit term that means many things, but one of them is the purpose of your life. And basically, the law of Dharma said that the universe is kind of a big puzzle, and we are all a piece of this puzzle, and there are no spare parts. And we all have unique skills and talents that are necessary for the harmony and balance of this planet and the universe. So what I try to help people do is really find their Dharma and what they came here to do.
Oh, I love it. Thank you very much. I have heard that word. I listened to the Jay Shetty podcast, and he had a book, and he talks about the Dharma quite a lot. And so familiar with it, but I think you explained it beautifully for us. So thank you so much.
No
all right. So, so this is a podcast, Valentina. So I'm curious about what podcasts you might be enjoying right now.
So many. I started and I listened for a long time to Oprah's podcast, Super Soul Conversations. I'm currently listening to the Higher Self podcast from Sahara Rose. It's all very similar to, what I do. There is mindset, there is spirituality, how to live better, wellness. So all these kind of subjects.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for sharing. I know the first one, but not the second. So I'll definitely check that out.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah. It's very good.
Okay. Thank you. So, Valentina, there are so many misconceptions about the work we do. And I'm wondering what misconceptions people have about your work. And I'm curious about what your friends and family think you're doing all day.
Yeah. So many misconceptions, especially what I do. I'm not saying is new, because there are people that have been doing it for many, many years, but especially where I'm from here in Italy is not something very common. So people have no clue on what I do. When I say I'm a coach, what they think usually is, oh, which team are you, training? Because they think, or do you work in a gym? So they think he's a sport coach. Or when I say the word spiritual life coach, like the word spiritual, they think, oh my God, are you part of a cult or something? And so no, there is absolutely. And also, often there is also a lot of confusion with therapy, so psychology or therapy, which are complementary, and there are parts in common, but the main difference is that I don't work with trauma or pathologies. I'm not qualified for that. That is a therapist's job. Of course, people with depression or anxiety or whatever, they can work with me, but it's good also if they are supported with a therapist. And I had to explain many, many times what I do, because if I say life coach or spiritual life coach, people really don't know what I do.
Oh my goodness! So tell us, tell us in your words what you do and what is the purpose of hiring a spiritual life coach.
Yeah, as I was saying at the beginning, is really to help people understand who they really are at their core, their essence, basically. Let them, make them understand they're not their thoughts, they're not their emotions. Let go of conditioning, societal conditioning, family conditioning. With this, I mean maybe fears, limiting beliefs that our society or the environment we grew up in told us, and so when we are kid, we have really little control on what this kind of beliefs and values we choose, because they are chosen for us, and we believe the people around us, and those are the examples that we follow. But often what is working for the generation, our parents' generation, our grandparents' generation, is not actually what's working for us. So what I try to do is really going in the subconscious and help people reprogram. I say reprogram their belief system, their values, their habits, that in a way that can support them to achieve really what they desire, their heart's desire.
Yeah, that's helpful. Thank you so much. So, Valentina, if we zoom into an average day or week, what are we going to find you doing?
So it's very different every day. It's very hard to say. It's not standardized, and every day, every week is different. There are days where I work 3 hours. There are days where I work 8 or 10 because I have an event to prepare. So it varies. But usually what I do, at least at this stage of my business, is of course coaching, but also create content for social media or marketing. I do taxes by myself, so I try also to contact people and collaborate with them. I have a podcast myself. Sometimes I have podcast episode to record. Sometimes I have group events in person or online. So it's really very different every day, every week.
Yeah, it sounds it. And can you tell us a little bit more about the spiritual elements of the work? Because I know that you've mentioned to me before we started recording things like meditations. And can you tell us about those different components of your work?
Yeah, so the reason why I call it spiritual life coach is because there is this component. It's not just about achieving a goal, which is more for a life coach, is really understanding how reality works and how you can create the life that you want, and also really understand your essence. So meditation is very useful for that. To me, in my experience, meditation is you really realize they are not your thoughts. You can observe them, but without becoming the thought. Or you are not your emotions. You can observe the emotion without, overreacting or become the emotion. So what are you? You are the consciousness that observe all these things, thoughts of emotions. So I base all of my work on this. And of course, talking about
Yeah.
consciousness is a spiritual thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So meditation is one of the tools that you use in your work.
Yeah. Yeah, there are many others. Another one that I use is Reiki, which is energy healing. It's a Japanese technique that, help basically rebalance your whole being. So mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. So, of course, also working with energy is very intangible and is part of the spiritual practices.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Thank you. And are there any other tools or parts of the roles you think it's important for the audience to be aware about?
Yeah, there are so many. I use many because I learned all of these things without knowing that one day I wanted to be a coach, but I did it because I needed it and I wanted to feel better. So there is another thing that I use. Sounds. Sounds are so powerful. They really can help you change your brain waves and so your state of consciousness as well. Is proven that it can really relax you, calm you down. Also, again, is another tool that can help you release stuck emotions or things that don't serve you in your energy system. So binaural beats is something that I use a lot because many of my sessions are online. So binaural beats with meditations is really helpful to help people get to in those brainwave states where you really feel calm and relaxed. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember doing a meditation class with sounds a few years ago, and it almost made it a bit easier because you focused on the sounds rather than your thoughts, which I guess is one of the points, right?
Yeah, exactly. Sounds, you attune your brain to the sound, so it gets also easier to concentrate. Yeah, and there are many other tools like to work in the subconscious mind. I don't know if you know tapping, EFT,
Oh yeah, I have heard
emotional
of
freedom
that.
technique. Yeah, so that's another tool that I use that is so helpful for releasing again emotions and fears, limiting beliefs as well, and rewire your brain and your mindset.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. So behind the day job, as it were, you know this is a business for you. So you're also running a business. So perhaps share a little bit about what happens less frequently throughout the year that might be interesting for the audience to know about.
Well, taxes is an interesting thing to learn about. It's something that I never had to care much about because I always worked for companies and they were doing everything for me. So that has been very interesting. Italy is so complex with taxes as well. So I feel I have a degree now on that too. So that's something that I had to learn. And also, since there is technology nowadays, I'm working mainly with word of mouth, in person encounters, for example, but social media is very important nowadays. So I want to have a kind of presence there too. So learn how to do digital marketing, for example. That's something that I had to take some courses on. And then I'm trying to find my own way of doing it because we all are different. But yeah, that's something that, of course, when you start this kind of path, you will do a little bit of everything. So yeah, you just need to prepare. to be prepared that. And then as you grow, you will have a team that can help you doing this. I have already someone that is helping me for some technical stuff, like website updates and things like this. But yeah.
Yeah. Brilliant.
This is something
Thank you.
to take into account as well.
Yeah, lots to learn. And I think one of the important things to call out when we go on these paths into entrepreneurship, and we are driven by a passion, we have to remember that we also need to, we're there to serve an audience, and we have to get that audience to know about us, and that requires a certain amount of ability to sell yourself and market your offer and create demand for what you're offering. And I think that's something, I guess, has been a learning curve as well.
Yeah, communication is really key, and I think for many people it's much easier in person, and many are afraid of social media, and I was one of them. But little by little, what I can suggest if people want to start something similar is really just one step at a time. Just know that sometimes you're gonna fail as well. Like, failure is part of the journey. And it doesn't, you have to detach yourself from those moments, because your worth is not linked to that. You are, at least in my view, of course, like, you are a super powerful being that can do really anything. But failure is just a feedback. So there is something that didn't work. It wasn't the right timing. It wasn't the right communication, whatever it was. You just learn the lesson, so you don't have to learn it again. And then you integrate it, and then you move forward. So yeah, this is something important, I think, to say. Just be at peace with failing, because it doesn't mean anything about you. It's just a process. It's part of the process.
Yeah, absolutely. I heard a really nice acronym for FAIL, which was first attempt in learning, and that's it so makes sense, doesn't it? Because it's rare that you get it right first time.
Yeah, exactly. And it's trial and error, really. Sometimes you have to try something and it doesn't work, but you learn so much that it was needed to go in that direction for that time. So nothing is random. Even the mistakes, if you want to call them like that, are really there to teach you something. And you need to have that kind of mindset to know that it was just a learning process in that case.
Yeah. Are you aware of the Growth Mindset book by Carol Dweck? That's a good one on this topic.
No.
Yeah.
But is what coaches do is really helping people going from scarcity mindset to growth mindset. So yeah.
All right. Thank you. So Valentina, tell us what you love about this work.
Well, it's really my calling, and it's the first time in my life where I can say this. I didn't mind jobs that I've done before. So I worked in finance for almost 10 years. And then during the pandemic, I had this revelation and I realized what I wanted to do. But how I describe it to people is really a calling. And I love everything I do. I love connecting with people that need support. I love seeing their progress. I love hearing their feedback and see their progress with my eyes. So it's very fulfilling and rewarding. And I teach also, with coaching, you also teach how the subconscious work, how energy work, or whatever, the kind of coaching that I do. And is really, it's really a passion for me. So I really love teaching these things.
Yeah. Thank you. And what do you find most challenging about the work?
Um, well, of course, as I was saying before, because nobody ever told me how to be an entrepreneur, or it's just trial and error. So that can be frustrating sometimes, but as I said, you just need to see it in a different perspective. Yeah, I think that's the most difficult part. But I think now it's been year and a half that I'm doing this full time. Even if I left my job a couple of years ago, but then I did the training and everything. I think at the beginning was more difficult, and now I got used to it, and I know how to handle things better. So definitely, that can be difficult part of this job.
Yeah. And for anybody out there who's thinking, oh, I hear a lot about entrepreneurship. I wonder if that might be suited to me. What tips would you give somebody who's thinking about entrepreneurship as a path for them?
So I think many people, again, don't want to take that path because they've been conditioned by their family or the environment they grew up in that is very risky, that is not worth it, that, you will, success is just for a few people. So to me, it's really important that people start to look within and really understand what they desire. In my case, I can give my example. My dream wasn't to be an entrepreneur, but when I realized what I wanted to do, I also realized that the only way I could do it the way I wanted was to have my own business. So to me, the business is the vehicle through which I can, live my purpose. So I say it like that. And it doesn't have to be the idea of business that society have, just about physical product or a lot of money. It will come, because I really believe if you live in your dharma, the universe will reward you with abundance. But you can see the business as a vehicle to live your purpose. So, and once you know that, when you understand what you want to do, and like the universe will support you in doing this, you will be brave enough to start doing it.
Yeah, I love that. I love thinking about it that way, actually, because you told us you had a calling, and in order for you to fulfill that calling, you needed to set up a business, the vehicle, as you say. I think that's a really nice way of thinking about it. Thank you. All right. So if you think back about the work you've been doing for the last couple of years, what strikes you as one of your proudest moments?
Many. Like, do it anyway, when I did it anyway, even if I didn't have any support around me, and people weren't understanding why I was living a safe career in a well-paid job. But I didn't listen to that, and I did it anyway. And that was it's a good satisfaction for me for the first time in my life. I was doing something that I actually believed in, and not because someone else told me to. And it was great. But then in terms of my job, there are many, many instances where, I don't know, I receive messages from people after a Reiki session, and they say, this is the first night in months that I slept better.
Wow.
Or I can see them going after their dreams, organizing events, quitting their job, and you are part of that process. And then, of course, the merit, let's say, is all theirs because they took the actions. I can guide them, but if they don't want to do it, there is. I'm useless. So is a co-creation. Is something that we do as a team. Let's say me and the client. So yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. Thank you. Well, Valentina, let's go all the way back to the beginning. When you were a young girl at school, what did you want to do when you grew up?
Well, it's nice that you bring this up because inner child is one of my biggest theme in what I do in my coaching. So reconnect with your inner child and, remember what the child wanted to do before all the conditioning from their school and outside world, So when I was a child, I think it wasn't a specific job. And that's why I think I can guide people to find their calling, because I really didn't have a clue what my calling was, even when I was a kid. But I know I was really interested in nature, in animals, in helping people somehow. I really loved helping friends when they were coming to me and they were sad or needed some advice. So I was doing this job all along, but I just didn't know it could have been my profession one day. It took me a long time, more than 30 years, to realize this. But because I had to go through this process of releasing everything that it wasn't mine. In fact, to realize who you truly are, the thing to do is really letting go of everything that you are not. And then you can step into who you truly are. Yeah,
it's really interesting, isn't it? When I kind of told LinkedIn, the professional network, what I was up to, I created a graphic that showed that really tried to demonstrate how when we're very young, we have so many ideas about what we want to do, don't we? Loads, I want to be this, that, and the other, and wild ideas, and so creative. But then over time, and with that conditioning, the ideas dwindle. And I found myself, leaving uni at 21, and all of those ideas had come to nothing. I had no idea what I wanted to do. And I just think, gosh, that's really sad, isn't it? Because it was either, family saying, oh, well, people like us don't do that, or we haven't got the connections for that, or you're not bright enough for that, or, all of this conditioning that tells you no. But actually, what's really fascinating is I'm now finding myself doing the things that I enjoyed when I was a kid. And I think I am kind of bringing to life some of those wild ideas I had when I was young. So it's really fascinating.
That's wonderful. Yeah, it is. It is fascinating.
Yeah.
And what you were saying, those are the limiting beliefs. People like us don't do this. Just if you are rich, you can be successful. Those are all limiting beliefs that block so many people in living the life that they dream.
Yeah. Thank you. So when you were going through the education system in Italy, tell us about what you were studying and who you were talking to about career options.
Yeah. Okay. So I had very limited options in Italy, in my opinion, of course, because of the limiting beliefs, to make money and be independent. My main goal was making money to move out and being independent. That was my goal. But I didn't have a clue of what to do because there was nothing that I was passionate about. I was very good at sports, but I couldn't see myself doing it as a profession. It wasn't a passion. I loved philosophy, but what everyone says in Italy, if you study philosophy, you just will be unemployed for the rest of your life. So I didn't do that. So after a while, the idea of financial markets came to mind. Well, my dad worked in a bank all his life, so but it wasn't the first idea that I had. It came to mind, and it felt right for me at that moment. And I said, okay, I can do this, because very logically was taken this decision. Okay, I can find, is a shorter way compared to, I don't know, medical school, for example, to have a profession that can allow you to make money. And in Italy, there are not many jobs opportunity, but if in finance there are, maybe not in my city, but Milan is a big center for that. So okay, very logically I took this decision, and I decided to go to study finance. And I didn't mind it, actually. It was quite interesting. There were things that I thought they should have been taught also in school, because are very important. And but I hated it because it was very demanding. There was a lot of competition. I was very stressed out. So I was really out of alignment from what I came here to do. Yeah, I think I lost myself during those years. So I managed to graduate on time and top mark, whatever, but I really did not enjoy it. But it gave me what I was looking for. It got me the job as soon as I graduated, which was very rare in Italy. And I was able to be independent, but I wasn't fulfilled.
Yeah. And what subject did you do at uni?
So financial markets, banking and finance. So I did a bachelor degree in banking and finance, and it was more about financial markets, the master degree.
And so when you were in that degree and you knew it wasn't right for you, what drove you to keep going?
I really thought it was the only thing, like only way out was through. That's how I saw it. And also, I didn't have any other idea. It's not that I had another desire at that point to do something else. If I had probably another desire, I would have thought about it at least. I don't know if I would have been brave enough to leave university to go and do that. But probably I could have done it. But I didn't have what else to do. I was too conditioned.
Yeah. So get the finance degree, get to Milan, get your independence. So hopefully you can, earn money and have the independence.
Yeah, exactly. And and I found the job, and then I moved to London as well for other reasons. But London really changed my life. So in the end, finance was a good choice because it brought me to London. That exposed me to so many cultures and different belief systems that really made me open my mind in a way that if I would have stayed in Italy, it wouldn't have happened.
So tell us about finding your first job in Italy and then that transition to London.
So it was quite quick. It took me a couple of months, and for Italy is very rare. I don't know now, but at the time everyone was complaining that there weren't jobs, and it was also a permanent position, which is also very rare in Italy. So I felt very, very lucky, and I was very grateful at the time. And then the reason I moved to London is because the partner that I had at the time moved to London for work. And I thought it was a good opportunity for me to learn another language and get exposed to a different reality, basically. And so I decided to follow him there.
Yeah. And so was your first job in Italy in financial services?
Yeah, in an asset management company here in my own
Yeah.
city, actually, not even Milan. So I was really
Wow.
lucky. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And
Yeah.
then you transitioned to London, and was that into an asset management
Mhm.
company?
Initially, no, it was a bank.
Mm.
And then I moved to an advisory company, and then I moved to an asset management company again.
Yeah.
So yeah, I changed quite a few times, but similar
Yeah.
jobs.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
tell us about that transition to London, and what were the highs and the lows of that transition?
Yeah, that was, now I can really say I didn't know when I took that decision, but it was the best decision of my life.
Yeah.
It was very hard for my parents, and I
Yeah.
was feeling very guilty at the beginning because Italian family, I think, are known to be very close and a bit
Yeah.
suffocating as well. um, but to me was exactly what I needed because I got exposed to an environment where I didn't know anyone other than my partner, and it was far away from my family, from far away from everything I ever known. So I was
Yeah.
able really to open my mind and see that there is a different life possible, that people do so many different things. There are not just three options in life. And speaking another language really made my brain work differently. I
Yeah.
don't know how to explain it, but I could feel my brain working more.
Yeah.
And also, yeah, the habits are different, going to the
Yeah.
pub instead of the restaurant like we do
Yeah.
in Italy, or having brunches that now are popular here too, but there wasn't any brunch before in Italy. So I don't
Yeah.
know, just and also exposed to so many different backgrounds, so many different cultures. And I really realized that that's my environment. The international environment is where I thrive and where I feel at home. I feel at
Yeah.
home in an international context more than, um, yeah, my own country. And I think
Yeah.
I wouldn't have never discovered that if I would
Mm.
have stayed here. So sometimes you really need to do stuff. I think I would say always do stuff out of your comfort zone, and
Yeah.
they will really bring you where you want to go. Yeah.
Yeah. And a couple of things there that really strike me is you gained the ultimate independence.
Absolutely, exactly.
Yeah. And also I think that, even though you realised that finance perhaps wasn't your path at uni, it was that gave you the opportunity to come to London. So sometimes we look back on things,
Exactly.
don't we, and think, oh my goodness, why did I do that? Or goodness, didn't I waste time doing that thing I knew I hated? But actually, there will likely be a silver lining from whatever experience you're having. And for you, it sounds as though got you to London and to really find this whole new world that you loved.
Absolutely. And find myself too, because I was far away from my conditioning and what I was used to. So I could really understand who I was. And then
Yeah.
there was a process, of course, and it took many years to understand that. But yeah, exactly what you said. I think it's been said many times, you don't understand why things happen in the moment or why you take some decisions sometimes, but after years when you look back, you will see you can connect the dots. And it's exactly what happened
Mm.
to me, because if I have to say also, I got exposed to all this coaching world and spirituality where there is so much more material in English than in Italian, for example. I wouldn't not be able to learn the stuff that I know now if I didn't know English, for example. So it's all connected, and now I can, I think the best thing to do is really don't regret anything and have faith. Just know that there is a journey. If you can follow your heart and your intuition, because they will bring you where you want to go faster without many roadblocks, but just trust whatever happens, because it's all happening for you and not to you, you know?
Yeah. Thank you. So tell us about your, I guess, journey through financial services in London, and maybe just call out the types of work you were doing. Because what I really want to show the audience is that just because we start on one path doesn't mean we have to be on that path forever.
Absolutely. It was in all these companies was a similar job, and I can call it probably operation. And in some places it's called middle office if it's a asset management company, and other names in advisory company, or you know. But we were the point of contact between the back office, so people that do pure operational things, accountants and things like that, and the front office, which are the people that operate in the financial markets directly, buying and selling things. So it's that point of contact, and you help the front office, help them with tasks that they don't have time for, and they might consume a lot of their energy. And then you pass this data to the back office so they can do their accounting work.
Yeah. Thank you. I think also called investment operations, isn't it? If I remember correctly.
Any company has different names. The latest team was investment operations. It's called like that.
Okay.
So very different.
And you mentioned earlier that during the pandemic you started to have this revelation. So I'm wondering if you can tell us a bit about, I guess, the awakening you had when you were, busy working away in financial services, that perhaps you might not be on the right path.
Yeah. So years before the pandemic, I had different things happening in my life, losing, break up with boyfriends, losing friends, and I was abroad alone. So changing job as well, selling the house where I was living in altogether. So, and I felt so destabilized. And I could see other people going through similar things, but they were perfectly balanced and okay. Yes, maybe a bit frustrated, but they weren't in such a crisis like I was. So I realized, oh my God, there is a way to feel centered regardless what's happening around me. So I actually went to therapy for a couple of years because this is what I thought, is the only thing I knew that could help me to feel better. I didn't know meditation or anything like that. And a friend of mine suggested me an app where I could meditate. And I started just out of curiosity. So I did therapy and meditation for 2 years in a row. And it brought so much healing into my life that I was already more aware of myself and what I wanted to do. But it wasn't still clear exactly what I knew I wanted to help people. So I joined, mental health committees, for example, in the companies I was working in and stuff. But it wasn't super clear what I wanted to do. And then during the pandemic, everything stopped. And I had so much time to sit and relax, because really discovering what you want to do and who you are is a journey inward. You know, you really need to cut off the distraction outside yourself. And this is what happened during the pandemic. I just needed to face, I wasn't busy going to the gym, going to drinks, meeting friends. I was at home. And so I had a lot of time to think. And thankfully, I was already meditating. That helped so much. I was already doing Reiki, so that also helped. And then I started to follow on social media just accounts that could inspire me and give me some hope and make me feel better. And I realized that all of these accounts were coaches. And I said, oh my God, there is a job that actually, through also social media, can make people feel better. And it is their job, and they can sell online. It can be done online. So I hired a coach myself at the end of 2020, the beginning to 2021. She's doing basically what I do now. And in 3 months of the program, I had a very clear idea of what I wanted to do. And I was able to do that program because at night there was nothing to do. We were stuck at home, so I had a lot of time to spend going inward and doing the work, and it was really, really helpful. And then after I realized that, it took me still 6 months or more to take the courage to leave. You don't have to take the leap straight away. You can even think about it, because they're big decisions. But then ultimately I decided to leave the job and start this new journey.
And what I really love about that is you didn't know that this was a possible career option for you. And it wasn't until you started following those social media accounts and connected the dots and thought, maybe I could do that. And I guess that's the point of this podcast, because we are limited by what we see in front of us. And if we don't see options, how on earth can we believe that we can be them? So I think it's a great example of how our career options are so limited by what we see around us. Yeah,
absolutely.
So So when you started thinking, okay, maybe this is the path for me, I am sure there were so many emotions and thoughts going through your head about, just do it, or, oh my goodness, you'd be crazy to leave this safe, rewarding job that you were talking about early. So, tell us how you coped with that transition to making that decision that you were going to take that leap.
I think I arrived at a point that I was so unfulfilled in what I was doing that I knew deep down that the only way to feel joy and fulfillment and freedom was to take that leap. So people often say, you go out of your comfort zone when the pain to stay the same is greater than taking that decision. And I think that is what happened to me. I was really pushed. I felt like I didn't have choice. If I wanted to be happy, I didn't have a choice. I needed to do that. And so I did. And not everyone does it. There are so many people that don't answer their callings. Maybe they do it later on. But my value, my priority at that time was, it's time to be happy and feel fulfilled and do something that I'm passionate about, because I've done enough of something that I'm not passionate about. So that gave me the strength to do it. And also, even logically, I said to myself, in the best possible outcome, I will retire in 30 years. That's the best thing I could think of. And am I really gonna stay in a job? Even if I was changing role, even if I was changing
Yeah.
company, I knew that wasn't the thing. Said I have still 30 years ahead. Yet life flies, but in a job
Mm,
that is not what you're meant to do is a very long time. So I said
yeah.
to myself, even logically, I said, I can take 2 to 5, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, 5 years in my life and try to do something that I'm passionate about. And then if it doesn't work, I can always go back to
Yeah.
the previous job with
Yeah.
a bunch of new skills that I didn't have before.
Yeah.
So yeah, all of these things help me, yeah, take the decision.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it's really interesting, isn't it? Because I think sometimes when we make a decision, we think, that's it, if I make this decision, there is no going back. But of course, you can go back if it doesn't work out, you know? And like you say,
Absolutely.
with a whole bunch of new skills.
Exactly. And that's exactly, again, the conditioning. You cannot change a job at a certain age because it's too late. You cannot start a business too early because you're too young, or all these kind of rules that I'm not sure who made up, but
Mm,
they block people in doing what actually they want to do and be happy and
yeah,
fulfilled, because the more people actually step into their dharma, their purpose, or their passions, better society will feel, because there will not people like very grumpy at their desk treating each other very poorly because they are frustrated with their life because they hate their
yeah,
job. every
yeah,
it has a massive impact in society, having people that
yeah,
actually love what they do.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. All right. So you make this transition and you start your
Hmm.
entrepreneurial journey. So tell us about those first few months. What did it feel like? What was it like?
Crazy. I for the first time in many, many years, I could manage my time as I wanted. And I was a bit scared because during university it was the same, but I got burned
Yeah,
out because I was studying too much and doing too many things. So I knew I
yeah,
had to find a better balance. Um, but yeah, I felt complete freedom. And it's
mm,
something that yeah, it was new after so many years of being told what to do, what to
yeah,
deliver, when. I could be completely free to decide what to do. And it was the hardest part. I don't know, I don't think I mentioned it before, but yeah, one of the hardest part in this kind of job transitions, especially with this spiritual taste.
mm,
People might think you're really crazy. I'm sure
yeah,
many people thought, oh my god, it's just the pandemic, it drove her a bit nuts. She's just taking a break or something. They really didn't realize that it was a calling for me. So
yeah,
the judgment of family and people was hard, but yeah, I knew that I had to do it anyway. So we have to live our life, not making other people happy, but
mm,
thinking about our own happiness, and that will have a ripple effect on the people around us, because now people understand why I do what I do, and some had benefits because I had this transition. So
yeah,
yeah, but that was the most difficult part, the first few months, because really my parents were saying, what the hell are you doing, we don't understand.
yeah,
But so that was the hardest part at the beginning. But then, I found a coaching program that I really liked, and it lasted 7 months. And yeah, initially, when I left my job, I said, okay, I'm going to start with Reiki, so energy healing and meditations, because those are the two things that I know already. The role of the coach wasn't really clear in my life, in my mind yet. So I wanted to work more on, know more about the subconscious mind, how it works. So I found this program where they were teaching you tools to work on the subconscious mind, and it was also a coaching certification program. So initially, it wasn't coaching the thing that I wanted to do, but then I started the program and I started to coach people as training, and I said, "Oh my God, this is actually what I like the most." And so I brought meditation and Reiki and all the other things in my coaching. So I put all together and I use it in my coaching. But so the first half of a year, seven months or something like that, was get some training. So I went to study again.
Well, that sounds great. And for anybody out there who is, I don't know, facing resistance from parents, friends, or peers about a decision that they want to make, what advice would you give them?
That whatever worked for their parents, their grandparents, or friends is not necessarily what is working for you. And, society evolves, and what was right for our parents and it was working for them is not working for us anymore. Because I really do believe that we are at the stage in society, especially if we are here talking, like, I think your audience, I can say these things with the people that will listen to this, but if we are here, it's because our basic needs are met. We have shelter, we have food, we can survive, and probably we have also some savings. And so the next step of evolution, I believe it is really because we are safe in that sense. We can survive. We can actually have the ability to look within and find our, gift, skills, abilities that no one else has. And so we can use it in the job that we do. And also our calling doesn't have to be a job. This is another thing that I want to say to people, because some people say, no, I have 3 kids, I cannot do anything else. But it doesn't have to be change your career necessarily. Is more, it can be a side project. It can be a side project. It can be a project inside the work that you're doing already. So there are many ways to fulfill your calling. And so but what I would say is, really, people give you advice based on their own experience and based on their life, and we are so unique and different. I know society doesn't let us they don't tell us that we can have different options, but we are so unique and different that our paths are all different. So whatever works for others will not work for you. If you really feel this burning desire within you to do something, the best thing you can do for yourself and for the people around you is go and do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Great advice. Thank you. So how far into the journey did you think, I'm doing the right thing? It finally feels right.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think when I found my coaching program, because I was enjoying so much, really follow your joy. That's the key, I loved it so much. I said, this is right. But this is, sometimes when you don't see results straight away, you might think, oh, then I made a mistake. This is not the right path. I should be more successful by now. I can see this influencer on Instagram makes million with what I do. Why I don't make millions? So also be very careful on that and follow really your joy and how what you do makes you feel, and not just the result, at least at the beginning. Because things take time. Maybe for some people are immediate, even if I don't believe in overnight success. Is building, of skills, experiences, and stuff that will bring you to the success that you want. So if you don't see results straight away, but you still enjoy what you do, keep doing it. Don't give up. Yeah, that's another advice that I would give. Don't give up if you believe in something, just because you don't see results straight away, because we live in a society that really emphasize the overnight success, or in a spiritual term, what they say is quantum leaps, when you actually explode from one day to another and you are a millionaire. But I really understood the journey of actors or singers where they go to so many auditions for years and years and years, and nobody give them the part that they want, and then there is one audition that is the perfect part for them, and they become movie stars known around the globe. And it's very, if you don't give up, it will happen. It doesn't mean that, also bear in mind, try to understand your definition of success, because again, society tells you that success has to be, you have to be visible and rich. That's the success. But there are many other ways to be successful. Having your own family, whatever, be creative, whatever success is for you. So try to understand what success is for you, and don't compare yourself to others. Yeah.
All great tips. Thank you. And I think that, there's definitely the myth of the overnight success, isn't there? But as we all know, Rome wasn't built in a day. And to circle back to something you said earlier, not everybody will be able to live out their calling through work. So perhaps people have families, or they're caring for parents, or they're just not in a position where they can live out their calling through their career, or dedicate time to a side hustle or something like that. But you can I guess live in your calling through other things, like volunteering, or being an excellent family member or friend. Or it's just about, I guess, understanding what value you can bring to the world, and it doesn't have to be through work. You can channel that value through other areas of your life.
Exactly. And actually, often it's not even the job itself, but is who you are and what kind of frequency or vibe you emanate that is your purpose. For example, someone that is very funny, it can be a comedian, but it can also be very funny in an office environment and make people laugh around him, or own a bar or a coffee shop and entertain his clients. I mean, you need to understand your essence. And then, of course, in some cases, not all the cases, there are jobs that really expand that essence and is they're more aligned with you. But you can be yourself in different jobs. So the important thing is really be yourself, understand your essence,
and find an environment where you can channel that, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So then that brings us to today on your career journey. Yeah.
So now I moved back to Italy also. A lot of changes in my life. I really realized that in my life changes are the only constant. And I'm back to the same place I was born, and I don't know if I will be here forever. But I'm very excited to bring the stuff that I learned in Italy, which I think is behind for these things, and many people don't know English, so I'm able to translate things, to bring new ways of looking things, and have an impact in this community. And to me, it's very
Yeah.
special, fulfilling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you look back at your career journey so far, what would you call out as the high of your journey?
Hmm. The coaching career.
Mm.
Yeah. So I would say, yeah, I started a podcast as well where I invite people to share their stories. It's called Stories of Awakening. So I combine storytelling with spirituality because there are usually people that
Yeah.
have similar calling than mine and their own journey through that. And I was able to invite people that are authors of books that I read that were really impactful in my journey.
Yeah.
And when I read those books, I would have never imagined one day to be able to talk to them in a podcast. So I
Yeah.
would say that has been one of the best things I've done. And
Yeah.
I don't have millions of downloads, but as I was saying before, the journey has to feel as good as the destination. And
Yeah.
I really feel so grateful that I'm able to connect with these people that have been such an inspiration for me throughout my journey. So
Yeah.
that would be the best part so far.
Yeah. Thank you. And what about looking back again on the career journey so far? What's the biggest challenge or failure or limiting belief you've had to overcome?
Uh, yeah, the biggest block and fear and the hardest things and even more painful things, as I said, is really with my family. And I was trying to convince them that I wasn't crazy, but I could see that it was very hard for them to accept
Mm.
me as I am now,
Yeah.
which is who I really am. So
Yeah.
you don't feel accepted. And that is something I think blocks so many people in doing what they
Mm.
love, as we said before. And more than any other thing that I went through during this journey, I think that has been the hardest. But
Mm.
it's much better now, much better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is there is there is a at some point you will feel better either because these people come on board or you
Yeah.
just release them and wish them the best and you carry on for your way.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I'm really curious. You mentioned that at the beginning of your, partway through your journey, you set up this Instagram or were following people who were very inspiring to you. So I'm really curious about the role of mentors and role models and coaches on your journey and how they've helped you.
Yeah, I'm so grateful to them because for them too, it was very hard to take this path, most likely. And they share, some were supposed to be doctors and then they realized that their
Yeah.
calling was different and their family cut off any money that was flowing their way. So they really had to build their
Yeah.
life from scratch. So it was very inspiring for me to hear their stories and know that was
Yeah.
possible. And that's also why I started a podcast called Stories of Awakening, because through stories, you can really get inspired and know that there is hope. And if they make
Yeah.
it, you can make it too. But it was
Yeah.
really, really important for them to see that some people was living their dharma, their purpose, and they were showing up. They were,
Yeah.
even if they had people judging them, even if they had fear, even if they had limiting beliefs, they were showing up anyway. And because they did it, even if it was uncomfortable, I was able to find them. And I hope I can do, or I did the same already for some other people, even if it's very uncomfortable starting a podcast or do a live on Instagram talking about spiritual things. But I hope that with doing that, there are other people that says, okay, this person is inspiring me. I can do it too, or I can follow my dreams, or doesn't matter what other people think.
Yeah, I'm totally with you there. I think throughout my life, I've looked to people and thought, well, if they can do it, I can do it. And I think it's those examples that we need to showcase in the world. And one of the things that I've learned along the way is to remember why you're doing this. I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this because I want to help the people who were like me. And if I keep that at the forefront of my mind, it helps me overcome the fear of putting myself out there on social media and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how really we help each other, because what I realized also throughout my life is often I was shrinking not to make other people feel uncomfortable around me, But the best thing you can do is really shine your light so bright that other people that are ready, they will see you and follow you. And then there will other people that, yes, will judge you and, go away. But those were meant to be in your life. And so, is something that I had to learn, that shrinking or settling for less or doing less of what I'm capable of is actually not helping anyone. Is really not helping anyone. And so the best thing I can do for people, society, and the world is actually being my fullest self, follow my dreams, and that is how you enable other people to do the same.
Yeah, thank you. Love it. So for somebody thinking about, following a similar path, whether that's as a spiritual life coach or they want to train in meditation or Reiki or tapping or any of these other wonderful tools that you mentioned, what do you think would be helpful for them to know from an educational training or qualifications perspective? And then we'll go on to soft skills.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so probably we'll say something very different compared to other professions, but jobs like mine, the main thing you need to have is your own experience. So you need to go through the things that then you will help other people go through. And then you have to overcome those difficulties so you know how they feel and you know what the solution is. So that's the best training you can have. So, what happens in your life is not random. Whatever you are able to overcome, and you got some strength from it. Those are the things that you can teach and help people with or coach people through. And so that's the main thing. So that's the main also difference, I would say, with psychology or therapy, because not necessarily if you study, at university, these things, you went through some stuff and you know how to get to the other side. So the reason why I help people find their dharma is because I didn't know what to do for a very long time in my life. And I also believe that it happened after 30. So I can tell people it doesn't matter. You don't have to have it all figured out at 25. You can change your career 40, 50, 60. It doesn't matter, So this is the most important thing, I would say. Be an embodied experience of what you went through, and then you can teach it to others. Of course, I'm not saying that you don't have to take training, because I think it's useful. I think we are in a society where you get rewarded just if you have a piece of paper in your hand. But in jobs like mine, doesn't necessarily mean you are a good coach. So, or a good meditator if you take a mindfulness certification. So you have to be the one meditating every day or most days, so you know what meditation does to your body and your mind. So really is living what you teach in my case. And of course, like, the coaching program was amazing because I learned many things. Even they help you with marketing and how to have your coaching business, and of course so many other things about how the mind works and how to approach clients. I'm not saying that it's not useful, and it's great to have a kind of framework, at least to start. But then, if you're really your calling, you have the skills and you have the experience, and those are the two things that you need for this kind of jobs.
Yeah, thank you. And I was going to ask you about what soft skills you think have helped you do well so far in this profession. But actually, I think I might slightly tweak that and ask you, if somebody if somebody's going to be right for this kind of work, it sounds as though it would need to be their calling, and for them to have had life experiences that enable them to help others or show empathy for others. So I'm wondering if you could perhaps share a couple of tips on how might somebody know what their calling is.
Mm-hmm. So, as I said, what difficulty did you overcome? Just think about that, and that give you an idea of what you can help other people with. And it can also be a practical thing. I don't know, something about technology or systems or taxes. You had some issues there and you wanted to improve those things, and then you can since you found a solution, help other people with that thing. So think about what you went through, what was difficult for you, or what you overcame, what solution you had, and this is what you can teach or coach other people with. And then what people tell you are good at. For example, I often heard, you listen so well, or, I feel safe with you. I tell these things just to you, nobody else knows. So this is my case, but, people might tell you, you are so funny. Everything you say, it makes me laugh, or you write so well, what other people see in you. So listen to that too. And then also really what you're good at, and what naturally without training, and what you enjoy doing. So take in consideration all these aspects. And I think if you put them together, you will understand what to do.
And I really like that you talked about putting them together, because it is a bit of a puzzle, isn't it? And I read a really good book last year called Love and Work by an author called Marcus Buckingham. And it was a bit of an eye-opener for me, because he talked a lot about strengths. And often, especially in the workplace, we're told, oh, you're so good at that, you're so good at this. But actually, sometimes you can be good at things that you don't enjoy doing, but you end up kind of being shepherded in that direction. So it's taking a step back and thinking, well, I might be good at it, but do I enjoy it? And if the answer is no, you might be, it might not really be a strength that you should be pursuing.
I agree. And probably that skill will be helpful in your calling somehow. But it happened to me, for example, with sports. I was very good at it, but it wasn't my passion. So it wouldn't have been my calling. But now,
Yeah.
for example, I started to I see sports as a meditation, for example. So I can still
Yeah.
combine it in my in in my routine. And also the well-being. Well-being was the main thing. I started everything, even meditating. So sport is part of that too.
Yeah.
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 But yeah,
Thank you.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah. So where could people go if they want to find out more about this, I guess, genre of work?
So, well, social media is a great place. Of course, be careful and just follow who resonates with you. Don't believe in everything that you see, but there are very good people out there that can really help you. I have a website where people can find the job that I do, and is soul-vale.com. And I also have an Instagram account that is called Soul Vale, all one word. And yeah, and I have a podcast, as I said, that you can find in Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and also YouTube. I started recently, and it's called The Stories of Awakening. And yeah, if you're interested in this kind of journeys, more spiritual journeys of awakening and realizing your full potentials and what you came here to do, there are many people there, and it's both in English and Italian, so you will have to pick your language. But yeah, yeah, you can
Thank
you
you.
can find more there.
Thank you. And could you recommend any books or other podcasts or accounts or websites that somebody might like to go and explore further with?
Sure. So Find Your Dharma, I think, is the name of the book from Sahara Rose. Definitely will help you understand your skills and what you came here to do. I found one of the most amazing book I ever read. Or if you want to understand what's happening in the world and why all these people are leaving their job, and seems everyone starts to meditate and things like that, you can read a couple of books. There is the New Earth by Eckhart Tolle, and that's very famous. I think many people read that one. Or there is also Celestine Prophecy, which is a fiction book. I don't remember the name of the author, but it's Celestine Prophecies, and there are a few books. It's a series, and is through a story. You explain how to find yourself, and how the reality works, and how what's happening in the world right now. So that's also a very good book to read.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Valentina, I'm curious, what do you know now that you wish you'd known when you were starting out on your career journey?
It's difficult to pick one because I felt at the beginning I didn't know anything, but really know that you are safe and supported, and you don't have to choose based on fear. So don't choose based on fear of not getting a job, fear of upsetting your family, fear of whatever. Just choose based on what you really want to do. And I didn't know it was working like that. So I chose based on logic and fear, and I don't regret it. As we said, nothing is random, in my opinion, But don't follow fear. That's the best advice I can give to my younger self.
Yeah. And what's your secret for a happy and fulfilled life?
Is, I think, really taking care of yourself, your mind, body, and spirit. That's really what counts, and follow your joy.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. Oh,
Thank
favorite
you.
quotes. I love a quote, Valentina. I'm wondering if you have any favorite quotes or inspirations or mantras you could share with us.
Oh, so many, so many. I mean, if you look at my website, there are quotes everywhere. So one of my favorite, can I say two?
Of course.
Okay. Um, so one is don't downgrade your dream just to fit your reality. Upgrade your conviction to match your destiny. So that's
Oh, I like
everywhere
that.
in my website. And another one that I really like is actually from Kung Fu Panda. It might be famous, this one too. But when I read it, I didn't watch the cartoon, but when I read this, I said, oh my God, this is the cleverest thing I ever heard. Is about really living mindfully in the moment, and is yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, today is a gift. That's why it's called present. And it's really true.
Oh,
Like,
that's
yeah,
lovely.
don't worry too much. Yeah, don't worry too much about the future and don't overthink about the past. But any decision you can make them now. So now is the only time that
Yeah.
counts. This is what's really useful to
Yeah.
know.
Wow. Thank you. Those are brilliant. Okay. Any final words of wisdom or encouragement for the audience before we go?
If you are here, there is a reason. So if you don't know what the reason is, you feel you don't have a purpose, you don't understand the reason of your life. If you're here, there is a reason, and you just need to let go everything that really you are not and was put on you by, all this conditioning, and you let go all of that, and you really can step into what you came here to be. And don't worry about timing either. Don't compare yourself to others. Everything has its own timing. Everyone is different. So just enjoy the journey and take the best out of the present moment. This is the best advice I can give.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Valentina. I've really enjoyed this conversation, and I'm quite sure the audience will too. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It was really nice to connect with you again.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for joining Valentina and I on the show. We really hope you enjoyed it. If you gained any value from today's episode, please share it with your friends and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And if you have any questions, comments or suggestions, do get in touch with us. So until next time, if you're struggling to work out what your Dharma is, have a think about those things that you enjoyed doing as a kid. What are you naturally good at that you enjoy doing? What do friends and family come to you for? Hopefully that gives you some ideas to get started. So until next time, have a great week, whatever you're up to. Thanks so much for tuning in.